We have with us Mr. Abhinav Singh, Vice President Operations, Amazon India. Abhinav, many thanks for speaking to PTI.
Lovely meeting you, Mamita. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for making time.
Let's start with Amazon's operations in India. You have made a commitment of $26 billion for this market. Where does India stand so far as growth is concerned, and how does it stack up against some of the other markets you operate in?
It's been an incredible journey from the time we started here in 2013 till now. Having been part of that journey, it's been amazing to see how the customers have trusted us over the last 10, 11 years here in India. We started with one fulfillment center in Mumbai, and today we have fulfillment centers across 15 states, over 43 million cubic feet of storage capacity. We have sort centers in 19 states, over 2.3 million square feet of sortation capacity. We have over 1,800 delivery stations across the length and breadth of the country. We have 28,000 Kirana stores, which we call I Have Space. In this program, neighborhood stores who sell grocery during the day also deliver for us when they don't have footfall from a customer perspective, thereby supplementing their income and also being able to deliver in a very reliable and efficient way. We have multiple SMBs who have joined us as part of our delivery network, as part of the delivery service provider program, or trucking partners. These are single truck or two truck fleet owners who joined us as part of the trucking service provider program. We've been able to digitize over 1.6 million sellers, enable exports of $13 billion and still counting. So it's been an incredible 11 years here in India, exciting and something that we are truly committed to. Like you said, we're just getting started. We have Andy, when he met Prime Minister Modi earlier this year, we committed to 15 billion more from an investment perspective by 2030. That will take us to the cumulative figure that you mentioned of $26 billion. And we are here for the long term. It's an exciting opportunity for us to serve customers across the length and breadth of the country.
We are in the midst of a festive season. What is Amazon's preparedness for the festive season? And how is the consumer demand, the demand outlook shaping up?
You used the absolute right word. We genuinely think of this time as a festival. There is festivity in the air anyway. We've just gotten out of Raksha Bandhan and Onam and Ganesh Chaturthi, and we're getting into the auspicious days, and then Dussehra and Diwali. So there is festivity in the air. And to gear up for that festival season, we've hired over 1.1 lakh people in our network, 110,000 people and more. And we've worked with our partners, whether it's the railways. We've just signed a recent MOU to scale up capacity on the regular scheduled trains and also on the DRFC corridor. We worked with India Post extensively. The pillars of modern India, so to say, we work with them very extensively to gear up for the festive season. We've added capacity in terms of our aircraft capacity, in terms of our trucking capacity. So we are all geared up to serve the crores of people across the length and breadth of the country. Our sellers, we are going to have 25,000 new product launches this year alone. And our sellers are geared up to offer the best prices to our customers. And from a convenience standpoint, we will make sure that this Diwali is the fastest ever in terms of what our customers can experience, and especially Prime customers. Today, Prime customers can receive over 1 million products on the same day of ordering and over 4 million products next day without, and this is a selection range that I'm talking about, without having to, build a basket or, have a threshold beyond which we will provide that for free. All of this is free for Prime customers. So a big network, all set to deliver the best experience for our customers across the length and breadth of the country.
What is Amazon India's overall strategy for the festive season, and how does it differ from past years in terms of your targets, what kind of expectations you have, what are the new trends we can expect? Also, iPhone 16, the new offering, what has been the demand for that?
So, it starts with the people. And every year, we want to make sure that whatever else we do, we focus on the safety and well-being of our employees. I want to touch upon a few unique things that we are doing just this year. So one of the big things in India is immediate assistance in terms of road accidents. So we've provided a service which we have launched for our delivery associates out on road, where with one click they will be able to avail of ambulance service if there is any emergency that they face or they spot an accident which they would like to assist in. And Amazon will pay for the contract as well as the actual use of that ambulance. It's free of cost for our delivery associates. This is just one of the many initiatives. The last time we met, we spoke about the initiatives that we have in our fulfillment centers and our sortation centers. This is one new thing that we are launching. In addition to that, we've got health check camps going across the length and breadth of our country. Over 50,000 people are going to avail of free healthcare checkups. From a customer standpoint, this Diwali, like any other Diwali, our aim is to make it bigger and faster and make it the biggest festival season that we have ever had. We spoke about the new product launches. From established products, we've got 5,000 plus launches happening. So the seller ecosystem, everyone is coming together to make this the biggest sale event ever. You spoke about what's our expectation. We're very optimistic about the sale season, and there is certainly excitement that we see in the consumers. We recently did a survey which told us that over 79% of the customers, deeply trust Amazon as a platform, as a marketplace of choice to order from, and over 80% are looking forward to shopping online this festival season. So I'm very optimistic, and we know that this is going to be the biggest season ever, and that's our aim every single year.
Biggest season ever would be, do you see this bigger, better than same time last year?
Absolutely. 100%. It's going to be bigger and better than the same time last year.
Which categories are likely to see more traction this time vis-a-vis last year? And how have you spruced up the back-end platforms and operations and logistics bit of it to keep pace with the demand surge?
Yeah. I think our aim every year is to make sure that we provide customers exactly what they want at the fastest possible speed. So there isn't a focus on any one particular category. We provide customers what they need in the fastest possible manner. This goes from everyday essentials, it goes to kitchen appliances, it goes to mobile phones, it goes to clothes. Whatever the need of the customer, we provide it to them in the fastest possible way. We do that by using a lot of our technology. You spoke about how we are getting up for it. A lot of our speed is enabled by accurate placement, placing products closer to the customer by making sure that we have enough depth of inventory in every single place where customers order for it. So a lot of technology goes into placing these products proactively, making sure that we have enough of variety as well as the depth in terms of the amount that we store close to the customer. In order to make sure that the technology ramps up, we do game day testing where we make sure that the systems are scaling. From a capacity perspective, we spoke about the 1.1 lakh people that we have hired. We also work with all of our vendors and partners, whether it's the government partners like the railways or the postal services, or all the airlines or the trucking partners, to make sure that we have enough and more transportation capacity in the network to serve the demand that's going to come our way.
So India is a big market in terms of, where you see the consumption, but it's also a place where you're getting into regulatory crosshair. So let me just ask you this. CCI, according to some reports, has sought turnover details from Amazon to determine a penalty. What are your comments? I'd like to get your views in on this.
I would not be able to comment on the CCI request. But I would like to talk about your first part of the question, which is India is a big country and we get demand from all over. Customers across the length and breadth of the country trust us, and we are humbled by that trust. If you just take last year's data, Tier 2 and Tier 3 customers, Tier 2 and Tier 3 city customers, they constituted almost 80% of the visitors from a website perspective. There were over 1 billion visits to our website and 4 million plus new customers. So that's just a testament of the trust that customers have. And to your point, a vast country which orders in a very diverse way across its length and breadth.
What kind of benefits are available to your associates who are working in the network, in your network? Also, government has asked technology-based platforms and aggregators to get their gig workers, to register on eShram portal. How do you see the move? And have you started working on those lines?
To answer your second question first, it's a very easy, simple answer. We welcome it, and yes, we have. We actually have been working on it for the past many months, and not just for the gig workers, but also for the workers who work in our warehouses and our fulfillment centers and sort centers from a registration on the eShram portal perspective. So we are partnering with the Labor Ministry on making sure that there are many more registrations and it becomes a vastly adopted platform. When it comes to facilities, the first thing I'd like to talk about is our industry-leading infrastructure. We are certain that the infrastructure that we provide for our associates across our warehouse, sort centers, and delivery stations is industry-leading. All of our buildings are temperature controlled, and we make sure that our buildings have the right facilities for people to be able to work in a very free and comfortable manner. Our associates have a very unique value proposition of a 5-day work week, which is unique in the industry across India. We also have leading benefits like insurance as part of the ESIC scheme, or maternity benefits, or making sure that our associates have a very comfortable home office home facility. So from a benefits perspective, we are industry leading in many ways. There are a few things which are unique that I want to touch upon. One of them is the Amazon Relief Fund. A lot of times you have natural disasters and calamities where it's hard for people to rebuild their lives. As part of the Amazon Relief Fund, our associates and partners, these are delivery service partners, can actually apply for and avail through the Amazon Relief Fund a fund which could help them rehabilitate in case of a natural disaster or calamity. In fact, in the recent floods in Kerala, a lot of our partners benefited from the Amazon Relief Fund. We spoke about the ambulance service, which we are launching in partnership with Dial 4242, where associates can get an ambulance at the click of a button. So these are some of the unique but very relevant offerings which we keep launching to make sure that our associates are well taken care of when they're working with us.
Staying on this topic of worker well-being, discussions around work pressure and stress is back in the spotlight in the aftermath of tragic death of a young executive at a large accounting firm. How do you see the pressure and job demand impacting physical and mental well-being of workers?
Yeah, it's a serious topic, and the first thing is my condolences to the family. It was indeed very tragic to hear that in that company. At Amazon, many years ago, we launched a leadership principle which we call strive to be the Earth's best employer. We recognize that being the best employer requires our leaders to continually raise the bar on leading teams with empathy, making sure that people are able to bring their true selves to work, and making sure that they are always creating an environment where people can come, collaborate, have fun, and work in a pressure-free environment. To put some specifics to it, we think about this in 4 pillars here in India. The first one being on empathy. How do we make sure that people treat each other with empathy? Leaders make sure that they understand the constraints of the people that they are leading. They respect their personal space and time. So we make very deliberate efforts to train people on empathy. The second pillar that we work on is work-life harmony, where we encourage people to make choices that work for them from a work-life perspective. The third is personal success, because we truly believe that people come into work to deliver complex things, not do busy work, and actually change the way things are done and challenge the status quo. So how do they progress from a professional perspective? So that's personal success. And the fourth very important pillar is diversity, equity, and inclusion, where we want to make sure that everyone is welcome in Amazon, and they're able to succeed by bringing their true selves to work. One of the examples that I am very proud of personally is in our fulfillment and sortation and delivery network, we have over 2,000 people with disabilities. And these are people with hearing disabilities, people who are acid attack victims, there are people who have vision disabilities. They're working shoulder to shoulder with normal associates who are normally abled and progressing to supervisory roles as well. It's been a very deliberate effort. We were recognized by the President of India as one of the as the best employer for people with disabilities late last year. Something we are proud of, but also acutely aware that we need to do more. So those are the 4 pillars along which we are striving to be the Earth's best employer. There's a reason there's a word striving in it, because we believe it's a continuous effort and it's never done. But it's a very active conversation for many years at Amazon that how do we make sure that we build a workplace which is empathetic and one where we would be proud of working in. So,
in the backdrop of the incident and the overall increase in the work stress for many people across different companies, are there any new initiatives that you are putting that are in the pipeline which will ensure that workers, when they are in office, they are in a positive bent of mind, positive, they're in a safe mental space?
Yeah. So, the conversation we just had along those 4 pillars is a very active conversation where we look at diagnosing exactly what it is that could be going wrong. Where is it that we can create, an intervention where we can do things better? We have at scale employee sentiment trackers. We call them connections, where in a very anonymous way, every morning when I log in or anybody at Amazon logs in, there's a question that pops up about, different things at Amazon, and people are, anonymously free to answer. And that gives us a very data-based approach to what's working, who needs help from a manager perspective. So that's one element that we measure it and we try to make an improvement all the time. We also have the employee assistance program, and we can certainly share with you in detail about the benefits program we have. But the employee assistance program is one where if someone is actually facing something in their personal lives, and it doesn't have to do anything with work, and they'd like to reach out for assistance from counselors who are qualified, they can do so free of cost. So those are the ways in which we have always been dealing with it, and we expect us to continue to double down on it.
But this is not just a problem of white-collar worker, right? It's also blue-collar jobs. You have many fulfillment centers, thousands of workers, during festival time or ahead of festival season. There is obviously a lot of work that comes in. There is a surge in consumption and demand. Are there new measures or some measures that come into effect just around this time to ensure that a particular worker is not overburdened with work?
Thank you so much for asking that question. I should have been clearer in my earlier response. So the strive to be Earth's best employer applies to every single person who comes to work at Amazon. Those 4 pillars apply equally to someone who's on the front line packing shipments as it is to someone who's sitting in Bangalore working on a computer. And from the perspective of training, it starts from the first supervisory layer. So every supervisor in the entire network, and these are thousands of people that I'm talking about, have already undergone training on empathetic leadership. And the connections mechanism I spoke about, that goes to every single associate in the network. So we use that data to see how we are doing, and we design interventions to make sure that the workplace is better for every single person. So I completely agree with you. It is not and never should be limited to white collar or blue collar. It applies to every single person.
Abhinav, Samir Kumar is all set to take over the reins of India consumer business after the exit of Mr. Manish Tiwari from October 1. What can be expected from this new chapter of Amazon leadership, and what kind of growth trajectory do you see for Amazon from here on?
So Samir is an old friend, and he's someone who's worked at India. In fact, he was one of the people who built India. So he is no stranger to India. and I don't think the approach will be any different. We'll remain very laser focused on our inputs. We truly believe that as long as we are focused on the inputs of customer experience, associate safety and well-being, price, which we can offer to the customer via our sellers on our marketplace, and convenience from a speed and delivery experience perspective, I think everything else takes care of itself. And knowing Samir really well, I'm sure he's going to focus on just those inputs as he comes in and takes over. From a long-term perspective, really optimistic. Andy's commitment, which we made with Prime Minister Modi earlier this year, of $15 billion more, taking our cumulative investments to $26 billion by 2030, is just an indication of how we are committed for the long term here in India. I personally, as an Indian, I'm really optimistic about building a large business that can serve crores of customers in India.
What is the runway for growth for Amazon in India? And I ask you this in the backdrop of rising competition from other e-commerce companies like Meesho and Flipkart, as also the rise of quick commerce companies, Blinkit, Zepto, which have become a way of life, 10-minute delivery, quick deliveries. How do you see competition and runway for growth?
So, Jeff used to say this, that customers are divinely discontent. And they will only shop with us up until the time that we are providing them the best experience, the fastest speed, and prices that make sense. And that's exactly how it should be. We should be worried about, are we offering the best customer experience that we possibly can? And there is invention happening all around us, and we get inspired by that invention. We learn from it, and we want to make sure that we remain the trusted marketplace which customers would come and buy from. And our focus is on the vastest selection at the fastest speed. I spoke about 1 million different SKUs or products available on the same day. 4 million plus SKUs or products available the next day. Infrastructure that has been built ground up over 11 years, which includes our own airplane that we launched last year, 2 737-800s, the partnerships with every single airline in the country, the partnership with Indian Railways, the fulfillment centers, of which there were in 15 states. We've also launched new buildings in Patna, Guwahati, Calcutta this year, and really strengthened that network in a very meaningful way. So we remain focused on those inputs, and competition will always be there, and they will invent, and we'll inspire them in many ways, like we have over the last 11 years, and they'll inspire us, and we'll learn from them, and we'll remain focused on our customers. We are aware of what they do, but we are obsessed with what customers want.
Do they eat into the market? Obviously, they do.
I think e-commerce as a percentage of overall retail is still very small. If they serve the customer needs better than us for a particular product, would customers start buying from them? Potentially. But we remain focused on making sure how can we be better tomorrow than we are today from a customer experience perspective, and how we can provide the biggest selection at the fastest possible speed. So I don't see our strategy changing or shaping by what the competition does.
Is that because you're saying that the market itself is so big and e-commerce as percentage of retail is perhaps still gives you a lot of headroom for growth?
That, and the fact that from a customer perspective, like I said, we did a recent survey, we are a very trusted marketplace in terms of 80% plus customers finding us the most trusted place to come and shop. And being secure in the fact that we'll provide reliable deliveries, and if in a rare case something goes wrong, we have their back, and we need to keep working hard to retain that trust. So those are the two things which make me say that.
Amazon has said that it is on track to surpass $13 billion in cumulative exports from India by end of 2024, which is almost 62% more than last year. Considering that we are in September, how much of that target has already been achieved?
I think the percentage would be hard to provide, but we are well on our way of achieving the targets that we have committed to. be it in the space of exports or in the space of sustainability. We spoke about 10,000 electric vehicles in 2020 beginning. And at that point in time, the electric vehicle infrastructure in India was very nascent. We worked with every single OEM, big and small, and we are well on our way of achieving the 10,000 electric vehicles by 2025 as well. So we take our commitments very seriously and work very diligently towards achieving them. And that is the whole result of that is the billions of dollars of exports that you see, the millions of sellers we have digitized, over 3.1 million jobs that have been created in the time that we've been here. So yeah.
Where does Amazon India stack up when it comes to Amazon's global operations in terms of your top line? At what rate have you been growing in India, and what are going to be the big bets for Amazon in India?
So we look at India as a long-term opportunity and as a place where we would like to build a large business which helps digitize millions of sellers, create a vast network of entrepreneurs, creates an industry-leading infrastructure, and serves crores of customers. We don't look at it as a opportunity which is for the short term. It's a very long-term opportunity, and it is a huge opportunity. Look at it from the perspective of 1 billion people with an economy which is getting to be the third largest very soon. So from that perspective, there's a lot going for India, and that's very optimistic for me as an Indian, and that really excites me to work here and in a small way help transform the digital infrastructure and contribute towards the government's Digital India mission. In terms of percentage growth, we don't share those numbers, Momita, unfortunately. But it's been a very exciting journey. Just the how we started from a few hundred sellers in one fulfillment center where I was an operations manager to now 43 million cubic feet of storage should tell you the scale at which customers have come to trust us.
Before I wrap up, I wanted to ask you this, not from a point of view of Competition Commission of India and the probes and the investigations, but the allegations that come, predatory pricing, deep discounts. We recently heard a very prominent trade leader talk about, his demand from the government for immediate action on deep discounts against Amazon. When you look at the market, which is giving you a fantastic growth, and you look at these challenges and regulatory hurdles, how does it balance out? Would you like to clear the air on some of these allegations that keep coming up time and again?
Yeah. So we have a very high bar on compliance, and we make sure that we do our best to comply to every single law of the land. In terms of the predatory pricing or deep discounts, we don't control the pricing as a marketplace. It's something that the sellers decide to price the products at the level that they'd like to. So no, I don't have anything further to comment on this apart from that.
It was wonderful talking to you, Mr. Singh. Many thanks for speaking to PTI.
Thank you, Momita. Lovely talking to you.